I wear my sunglasses at night. Last year I dated a couple women, and I broke up with each one of them. One of them was trying to emotionally manipulate me. The other one was just, there were certainly some red flags that kind of tipped me off as to something weird was going on, and I found out after the relationship that it was likely that she was already seeing someone while I was dating her. So I was some sort of side piece in that relationship, and I was like, nah, it's a good thing I left that. So anyway, if it wasn't for Red Pill, I wouldn't have seen some of these red flags in these relationships. I probably would have taken a lot of crap and emotional abuse from women. Maybe even gotten married to one of them out of desperation. It's funny. I got red pilled in 2014, and ever since then, it's one of those things where you can't unlearn. Once you're red pilled, it is so hard to go back to being blue pilled. I actually think it's impossible. And I tried to, and I kind of did. But every time I would get back into a relationship, I would always see these sort of red flags, and sort of the red pill, the stuff I learned from the red pill, loving yourself, coming from a place of self-respect, don't worship women, don't simp to them, don't white knight to them, etc. All that stuff would come flooding back. And usually, I've only been broken up once, and that's when I was like, I've only been broken up with once. That was like when I was a teenager. And every relationship I've had since then, I've always broken up with the girl. Again, because of red flags, blah, blah, all that stuff. And, after I got red pilled and I was in relationships, it was either toward the end of the relationship or right after the relationship, I would go back to the red pill and mgtow content as sort of a refresher, because once you see these red flags, you sort of, you have to see if you're crazy. You have to see if, like, hey, am I wrong here? Am I coming from a good place here? And the thing is, back in 2014, after I learned about the red pill, after I got red pilled, I thought to myself, there is no way that this stuff is not going to proliferate. Red pill, mgtow, that whole philosophy is just going to continue to grow. And it has, just tremendously since then. And I think it's going to continue to grow, because men have this sort of innate desire to try to understand women. And the thing about red pill content, mgtow content, is it teaches you the real nature of women, not what the mainstream media wants you to believe, not what women want you to believe, but how they actually are. It said, don't believe what a woman says, believe what she does. Great advice there. There's no putting it back in the genie bottle, so to speak. It's out there and it's going to keep proliferating. Today, 2026, to give you a couple of examples of complete abuse of female privilege and power, you have Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey lifting all legal restrictions on abortions up until birth. And if you saw that press conference, she's at her desk signing, and all those women around here clapping like seals, celebrating the murder of children in the womb. Heinous, evil, diabolical. It's almost hard to find the words to properly describe it. And now you have the Lindsay Clancy trial, which, okay, this is a woman who murdered her 3 children. And now what's worse is, you now have the jury deliberating over the verdict. That's going to take a little time, I guess. It started today, and it's going to continue. And God help us, please find her guilty, because she's obviously guilty. But in today's clown world, you never know. So, hope for the best, expect the worst. Anyway, what's worse is some of the women's reactions to this coming out on social media and in support of Lindsay Clancy, this murderer of her children. When you think it can't get worse, it gets worse, you know? You ask yourself with women, and this is generally speaking, but you ask yourself concerning women, like, how much worse can it get? And I can tell you it can get worse than this. And I can't really think about how worse it can get, but it can get worse. But it's like the mask is completely off, and if it's not completely off, it's getting there, man. We're like at this point, right? Pull it up like this far, and it's like, if it's not completely off yet, what is next? And it is can't find the right words. We all say disgusting, but it's like worse than that. So do you think the red pill is going to go away anytime soon? I don't think so. The modern woman, again, generally speaking, is an entitled, spoiled brat. We have given women power and privilege like never before, and this is what they do with it. Absolutely atrocious behavior. And yet, many of them have the audacity to, put themselves on TikTok, wondering, like, why don't men come up to me and talk to me when I'm walking on the street like they used to? Why don't men come up and ask me on a date at the bar? They're complaining about the lack of attention they're getting now. And it's because more men are waking up, learning about the red pill, learning about the true nature of women and the true nature of men, and they're getting wise. And thank God for that. The reason why why red pill and mgtow will continue to proliferate is because men want to preserve their peace. They want to preserve. They've seen many examples of men having their lives ruined at the hands of a woman, whether it's through divorce or through the courts in some way, shape, or form, whether a woman has lied about them. Many reasons why men are going their own way and avoiding relationships. And it's not that we don't want to be in relationships and that we don't want to get married. I do want that stuff. The thing is, man, just give me someone who's not that crazy. I mean, like, we're all a little weird. We're no one's perfect. Okay, I'm not looking for like the perfect woman here, but man, well, every time I ask a girl out, well, I either get rejected or there's a woman I'm attracted to and I find out she's already in a relationship or married. And good for them. Hopefully they're, they have good men in their lives, that they do get married, have children and all that. And I'm happy about that stuff. So, good on them. It's just dateable, marriageable women seems to be quite a rare thing these days to come by. And men are just trying to preserve their peace. They're trying to, that's basically it, We don't want to end up like a lot of people we know who have gotten married to someone crazy and ruin their own lives. And if they had kids with them, ruin the kids, psychologically mess up the kids. We're trying to prevent that stuff. The reason why, relationships, there's a lack of relationships and a dropping of marriage, is because many men have gotten wise. And we're putting the brakes on this sort of relationship train and saying, no, like something's got to change here. We've understood that society has given women way too much power, way too much freedom, way too much privilege, because we see what they do with it, and it is destructive. I'll say it again, the modern woman is terrible. She is a spoiled brat. And how do I treat a spoiled brat? I completely and utterly ignore them. I give them no attention. I give them no positive attention. I try not even to look their way. I can't stand spoiled brats, and I can't stand spoiled brat women. And there's a lot of them today. And they're all out there, putting themselves out there in social media, showing just how frickin' crazy they are. They're frickin' crazy. Again, this is what you're seeing today, is what you see is sort of the end result. And maybe it's not the end result. Maybe it's going to get worse. But this is the result of giving women so much power, so much privilege. And you wonder why you keep seeing more comments from men saying, repeal the 19th Amendment. Oh, it's nuts, man. We live in cloud world today. And you women, not all of you, there's some great women out there for sure. They're usually married. They're usually like in a relationship already, preparing for marriage and having children and being normal. But a lot of these these single ladies who are like in their 30s and 40s and just can't understand why they're not in relationships. Oh boy. Maybe they'll never understand, but that's not my problem. As for me and many other men out there, we're going to keep our peace. That's worth more than sex. That's worth more than just try. I mean, like, every man has that desire, that sexual desire, and the desire to be embraced by a woman. But knowing what we know now, we're not trading our peace for that. It just seems way too crazy. This is where we are in the modern world. It's a brave new world. It's a woman's world. And we're just in it. That's all I got. Thanks for listening. God bless. Peace.